All right, here he is, Chris Camozzi on the show after a huge win, finishing Bubba McDaniel in just 37 seconds at BKFC 31. Chris, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me back on.
Yeah, I'm thrilled to have you back on, first of all. And I mean, we were talking before we started the interview. This really couldn't have gone much better. I mean, I suppose you could have finished him a little bit earlier, but I mean, 37 seconds, that you have to be very happy with your performance.
Yeah, definitely. It went a little different than I thought, actually. I kind of thought he would rush straight forward right away. Because you've seen a lot of these fights, they go real quick, like it's just train wreck in the middle. So I had a plan for that. And when he didn't, I had trained that over and over and over the start of the fight, and just kind of what we thought might happen. And so it was a little bit of a shift when he didn't come in. My coaches and I were all positive that he was coming straight forward right away. So I was planning on just stepping in and throwing. And when I realized he didn't come forward, that kind of didn't play out as well because I couldn't close the distance and get the step that I thought I would have.
Well, ultimately, you landed a massive shot, and that was all she wrote. He couldn't answer the bell. Essentially, the referee called it off. Did you know when you landed that shot that it was over?
It's interesting. Like, it wasn't a massive shot at all. And I've seen some stuff online saying like he doesn't have a chin or anything, and that's not what it is. What it is there's no gloves. It's bare knuckle, and it was right on the button. There aren't a lot of people, I don't think, that would take that shot because he didn't see it coming, and it was right on the chin. So that's nothing against him. That's something that would catch just about everybody. So we worked keeping everything short and tight. My coach, Jake Ramos, was big on that. He's like, man, you don't need to load up in this. You don't need to just throw bombs. Like, if you hit the right spot, your money.
Mm-hmm.
And looks like he was right.
Now, but before you landed that shot, did you see him? Was he doing something that led you to believe that he had an opening for you to capitalize on? I mean, how did that finish come about?
No, I mean, it's just, find something in the chaos, because when you're in there, everything's happening so quick. But I would attribute that to, training precision. When I hit mitts, a lot of times my coach doesn't call anything. He just flashes the mitt. So it's building up those reaction speeds and everything. I did see the opening, so I threw it. I'm not going to say that I knew that it was going to knock him out or anything, but it was clean and it was right on the button. Like I said, it was the one he didn't see coming.
How did you feel before you made the walk down there for the fight? Was it any different than your previous fights? I mean, I know you're a veteran if there ever was one, so you've been doing this a really long time now, but how did you feel before you made the walk?
It's crazy. That was like the calmest I've ever been before a fight. I usually don't have a lot of nerves anyway. I'm a strange person like that. Like, fighting doesn't make me nervous, but jiu-jitsu competitions, back when I used to wrestle, those kind of things make me really nervous. I would get like a lot of butterflies before, but fights not so much. But this was honestly the calmest I'd ever been before a fight. I think I just feel real comfortable doing it.
Huh. Okay. Well, that's interesting to me because, as you mentioned before, with the bare knuckles, I mean, I don't know. I would be, if I was in your shoes, maybe more nervous making the walk down there. But you feel like just because of how long you've been doing this, the preparation that you put in, that you're just at a point in your career where that just doesn't happen anymore. This is just like an everyday thing for you.
I guess. I mean, I can't really explain why. It's weird. It's like the exact opposite of most people. But man, I look at fights like, when I was fighting in the cage and stuff, I always look at it like, this is jail. Like, nerves aren't going to help you. You're locked in there. Everybody knows you're here. You can't leave. You're already here. Nerves aren't going to help. That cage is locked. So beat his ass before he beats yours, kind of thing. And I think the same thing with the ring. It doesn't hurt forever. Losing is not what scares me. My fear has always been to underperform. Everybody loses. I've lost before. I've lost in front of millions of people. You get over it. It doesn't last forever. It doesn't hurt forever. My fear has just always been not performing to the best of my ability. So, yeah, I don't know, man. It was fun and it was weird. It was just oddly calm before.
All right. Well, let's talk about the venue. And obviously, BKFC 31 was in Broomfield, Colorado. This is, your hometown, your home area, man. I know you had a lot of support there on fight night. So what was that like? What was the venue, the fans, and the atmosphere like?
It was great. You know, I've fought there before. The First Bank Center is probably the best arena for fights here in Colorado. We have one bigger. It's the what is it now? The Ball Arena or something downtown, where the Avs and stuff play. But that place is so big, you can be so far away that you can't see everything. Where the First Bank Center is just kind of the perfect size. You can see from everywhere, and it's just cool to fight locally and have all my friends, family, and fans come out. Every time I've ever fought in Denver, I've gotten a ton of support. So it's been years since I fought here, so it was a lot of fun.
How did you celebrate?
Man, we went to a place called Tom's Watch Bar downtown. I had an after party there. They kind of reserved the whole upstairs for me. It's a really cool like sports bar down there, where I've gotten to know the owners. So it was a lot of fun. We went there, and then you know, maybe some other places. We went to one of the strip clubs around here for a little bit with a big group of people, and yeah, it was fun.
All right. So what is usually, I guess, the post-fight victory meal? Do you have a go-to, something that you're just really looking forward to devouring after all the hard work you put in camp?
Not really. I mean, I don't cut weight anymore. I eat pretty healthy year round. My girlfriend is big into fitness and nutrition, so over the years I've just kind of followed her diet, and so now we don't even have any bad stuff in our house. It kind of sucks, you know. Sometimes you just want something bad. But yeah, I mean, because I don't cut weight, I don't starve myself. I'm not miserable, and I kind of eat my same diet year round. It's not too bad.
Okay. So you're walking around at about 200 right now.
No, I cut a little bit. I mean, when I say cut, I mean back in MMA when I was cutting to 185, I was walking around like 220. So that cut was horrible. But now I walk around like 215. I can just diet down a little bit, and I think this time I got in the sauna too long. Actually, I woke up at 208. I needed to be 206, and I ended up winning at 203. I should have cut 2 pounds. I cut some extra by accident.
All right. Well, that's not a bad thing. At least you made the weight, and that's what matters most of all. Now, I know we talked before the fight, so you said you wanted to go out there, you wanted to put together a highlight reel knockout, which you did, and this would give you potentially a very lucrative long-term, or at least a multi-fight deal with BKFC. Is that what is being negotiated now? Can you give us a little insight as to what the future holds?
You know, I don't think anything's been said yet. It's so early, but I'm just going to sit on it, give it some time. You know, I just put out on social media and stuff. I had a lot of fun. So I told all my followers and friends, you know, if you want to help me out, give me some bargaining power, some extra bargaining power, and hit up BKFC and tell me you want to see me back, because the ball's in their court. I'd love to do it again. And like I said before, I obviously want to make more money. So I'm going to sit and wait and see what they come up with.
What would be the perfect time frame for you to get back in there? And is there an opponent that you feel like would make the most sense for BKFC?
Time frame, I don't know. You know, I'm good with waiting a little bit. I'm good with getting back in there. It doesn't really matter. Ever since I took weight cutting out, yeah, I'm not miserable anymore. So the turnarounds can be easier. My body's not like just trashed at the end. Man, as far as ideal opponent, I've said it a few times. Look, I'm 35. You know, I don't know how long I'm going to fight for, but I plan on fighting, you know, for a bit longer. Now's the time. I think that I'm the fresh blood in there, and I think with a performance like that, that makes a statement. So I would love to fight the champ.
How does a match with the champ go? I mean, I'm sure you believe you would get your hand raised, but just break that one down for me stylistically. How do you feel that would end up playing out?
It's a tough matchup for me actually because you know, he's a lot shorter. What's his name? Hunt.
Lorenzo?
Yes, Lorenzo Hunt. He's shorter than me. He's like a little ball of muscle, you know. I'll give him all the credit. You know, I do this. I'm a little different than most people. I'm not going to sit here and bash him and say he sucks, any of that. I think right now he's the best guy to do it. So I love the challenge. And like I said, I'm the new guy in here, but I think he's beat everybody else. So I think why not now? Let's just get after it. You know, I've always fought anybody that they've ever put in front of me. And I like the idea that it's a tough matchup. It's a little bit of a different style for me. But man, I've got some of the best training partners to fight him. You know, I got Grant Neal, who's built just like him. I spar with that guy every day. But yeah, I love it. And I would love to see that happen. Let's get that belt.
Yeah, and I feel like with you, I mean, you have a big name. It would make sense to put you right in the title mix, right? I mean, don't you think that would make the most sense for the promotion?
I think it would. Um, Obviously, he's done a good job of making everybody want to fight him. Regardless of being the champ. I know that there was a potential rematch. I forget the guy he fought last. It was a little, some people call it controversial or whatever. And then I know Richmond. So he's got a line. We'll see what they want to do, but they know how to get a hold of me.
I mean, I'll tell you what, after that debut performance over Bubba McDaniel, I think it's going to be hard pressed not to put you right in the mix. So I think the future is bright for you with the promotion. You did mention Grant Neal, so I do have to ask you a little bit about him. He has an upcoming fight, right? How is he looking in camp? I have to imagine pretty darn good.
He looks great, man. Grant trains like his camp year round. The dude is a machine. He never misses a practice. He trains all over the city all day long. He's the exact definition of a professional, man. So it's cool to see. I don't know that he's got a confirmed fight yet. Maybe you know more than me, but again, he's in the gym. He spars every week. He's at every practice, so you can't really tell when he has one and when he doesn't. Other than as it gets closer, he gets a little angrier. But other than that, man, he's training like he's got a fight every day of the year.
Now, I haven't seen Brandon Gertz fight in a very long time. Can you give me an update on him? Is he planning to fight again? I have to imagine he would be.
Yeah, I mean, from what I heard, he wants that rematch. We talked a bit. He's got a baby and everything, and he's in the process of moving. He actually signed on a new place like the day of the fight. So he's got a lot on his plate. So I'm just kind of letting him chill for a bit, but I don't think he's too banged up. And I know that he really wants that rematch because he was very disappointed at it getting stopped. It was a little bit strange for them to stop that one, but not the girls' fight. But who knows, man? I'm not the doctor. I know that his opponent said that he was open to the rematch and didn't want to win that way. I thought Gertz was winning the whole fight, so I don't see why they wouldn't.
Yeah, no doubt about it. He's one of those fan-friendly styles. He always comes in there and brings it. So I can't wait to see Gertz back in there. Now, this weekend, Chris, big UFC card, UFC 280. So I got to get some picks from you. Let's start with the main event, Charles Oliveira, Islam Makhachev. Is Oliveira going to retain his belt, or do you believe Makhachev is going to go in there and get the win?
It's an interesting one, right? But I'm going to pick Oliveira. I think his hands are getting better and better, man. That guy's got some power now. His striking looks great. And then obviously everybody knows on the ground he's a real problem. But the Dagestanis, man, with their wrestling, it's just different. They don't put their head low. They're not really the way they position themselves on top. I feel like they're not subjective to as many submissions. It's weird, but a lot of wrestlers will kind of bury their head low, and then that's when they get caught in chokes and other things. They ride real high. So it's going to be a really cool stylistic matchup because I don't think Oliveira has a problem getting taken down. I don't see him even trying to defend it too much. But on the feet, I think he's got the definite advantage.
Yeah, I can't wait for that one. I'm so torn. I keep going back and forth who I think is going to win. I don't know. I feel like we've seen Oliveira get rocked in a lot of his fights, and he always ends up coming back and winning. So I don't know. I feel like if he gets rocked here, he could find a way to come back and get the finish, but I don't know. I feel like it's a coin flip. The co-main event is another great fight. Aljamain Sterling and TJ Dillashaw for the 135-pound title. Do you feel like Dillashaw is going to reclaim the belt, or do you think Aljo retains?
Man, this is a tough one for me too because I'm friends with both guys. I've stayed with Aljo a bunch of times when I go out there and train with Weidman. Dillashaw used to be out here in Colorado. I've trained with him a bunch. It's really hard for me to pick between them. Man, Aljo is looking better and better each fight. I think he's really found his stride, and it's going to be interesting to see how TJ comes back. He's been on a long layoff, I don't really know which way I'm going in that fight, but I can't wait to watch it. I think it's going to be an exciting one.
Yeah, another coin flip of a fight. Now, this one, I think you might be leaning one way more than the other. Who knows? Piotr Jan, Sean O'Malley. Who do you see getting this one? I feel like a lot of people say, like, if this was a 5-round fight, Jan would win this one, no doubt. But it's only 3 rounds. He's a slow starter. Is O'Malley going to get the win, or do you feel like Jan's going to come to really bring his A game in this one?
I'm happy O'Malley is stepping up and fighting. another name. Who else? He's only fought, not only, I'm not shitting on the other guys, but for the amount of hype he gets, he's only fought a few guys that were kind of higher level at the moment. You know, not to say those other guys aren't on their way up, but for the hype that he gets and the money that he probably gets, he should be fighting like the top competition. I don't see him beating Peter Yan. I don't know if I say his name right or whatever, but man, I've been a fan of Yan. I love watching him fight. He's very technical everywhere. Sean's got some tricks and he's long, but I don't think that his tricks are anything super fancy that Yan hasn't seen before. And he's just another caliber fighter. We've also seen O'Malley get hurt quite a bit, you know, as far as kicks and stuff like that. And Peter Yan puts those together real well. He's got a lot of power behind those kicks and right after his punches. So I'm picking Peter Yan.
Okay. Where are you watching the fights this weekend? I'm sure you'll be watching them somewhere, and it's an early start, so you don't have to be up real late to watch these ones.
Oh, really? Okay, perfect. Man, I don't even know. Maybe just at home.
Yeah.
Maybe my podcast studio. Maybe we'll live stream it. If you haven't checked it out, I got a podcast called Hydrated Mindset on Spotify. It's me and then my CEO, who's one of my best friends. We have a lot of fun with it. So maybe I'll get him in the studio. We'll watch the fights and live stream it.
Yeah, that would be very cool. They're in Abu Dhabi again. So I know the main card doesn't start until 2 p.m. Eastern time. So right smack in the middle of the day out there in Colorado for you. So that might work out very well. To go back to BKFC, Chris, I wanted to get your take too. You know, Ben Rothwell came and had another performance very similar to yourself in his debut, finishing his opponent, you know, very fast with a big shot and putting him out. What is it about, you know, guys like you and Ben that are having this success translating over into BKFC? And do you feel like we're going to see more UFC fighters make the jump, leave the promotion and come over to BKFC, especially if they're going to be paying more money?
Yeah, I think we will see more people make the jump. Ben and I were just actually messaging right before I jumped on here. You know, I was talking to him before the fight and he's like, "You're next, you know, do work kind of thing." And I was like, "I'm trying to just copy you." And then I go out there and had the same kind of performance. So it was great. But man, first off, yeah, I don't know what the success just comes from, man. We've been gritting in this sport forever, you know. MMA is a tough sport. I think MMA guys do better transitioning over than like the boxers because it's a different pace. It's a different kind of fight. Boxing, you know, they call the sweet science. This is kind of like the sweet brawl, you know. It's a lot faster pace and guys just go at it. And then the fact you can grab the head, clinch, all that stuff makes it a little bit different. So in MMA, we're kind of used to that style a little bit more. And even when I fought in Glory, it was kind of faster paced than a regular boxing match. But Ben, man, that's a big guy to stay away from in that ring. The way he covered across that ring, it was only a couple steps. So I feel bad for the people that got to fight him because that's a big man to try to not get hit by and hit back. But yeah, I think it's just, we've had careers of just gritty fights. So for me, it didn't feel much different, you know, even getting punched a little bit, it didn't feel any different than an MMA glove. My hands are completely fine. They weren't swollen. My hands weren't even sore. I couldn't even tell I punched anything after. I don't know. I think I'm just built for this sport.
You know, it would be really cool for your next fight to have you and Ben on the same card, main and co-main, or vice versa, however you want to do it. Would that be something that you feel like would sell a lot of pay-per-views and get a lot of people interested in?
Definitely. That'd be fun to fight on there with him. I fought on a few UFC cards with him. He's a great guy. I'm excited to see what he does in there. I saw that they're going to Cambodia, man. I've always wanted to go to Cambodia. Why don't we just get on that? That's how I used to do with the UFC. If I wanted to go to vacation somewhere and they were going, I was like, let me fight on it because then I'm going to stay after and enjoy it.
When is the date for Cambodia? Do you know?
No idea. Somebody told me that they announced it that night. It would be a lot of fun, though. I love the humidity. I love the heat. So perfect.
Very good. Well, Chris, again, congratulations, my man. Very impressive performance. Again, finishing Bubba McDaniels in just 37 seconds at BKFC 31. I really appreciate you doing this and hopping on with me again. Before we do sign off, I want to give you the floor. Tell people where they can follow you on social media. And if you have anyone to thank, anything to plug, the floor is yours.
Definitely. Thank you. You can follow me mainly on Instagram. It's at Chris Camozzi MMA. I got the link tree in there for a bunch of other stuff I got going on, my podcast. I got an OnlyFans page now because they sponsored me for the fight. So I'm going to start putting up, I'm going to change it a little bit. I'm going to start putting up some instructional type stuff, some training stuff, more fitness stuff. Anyways, jump on there. It's free. So yeah, shout out to them. They're one of my sponsors. Half Face Blades, the Shootist here in Denver. If you like shooting, it's an awesome gun range. I've been going down there a bunch. Let's see, Whitney John's Nutrition. So my girlfriend's supplement company sponsored me for that fight. And then of course my company Fit Soda, owned by Koyos Beverage Corp. You know, I'm about to head to the office there now. I work there full time, and it's an awesome company. So if you haven't tried Fit Soda, make sure you go find it. It's in Sprouts nationwide. You can get it on the website. We're in like 6,000 other stores across the country, and we just signed, I don't know, like another 10,000. So you're going to start seeing it everywhere.